Good morning, Senator. So you have a new book out today, and it's called Unfettered. And it's a very candid memoir that covers everything from your journey into public service, your Senate race against Dr. Oz, your marriage to the wonderful Giselle, and kids, and your life-threatening stroke and struggles with depression. Why did you want to tell your story?
Well, because I think it's an important conversation to have. I know millions of Americans suffer from depression, and a lot of that part is very counterintuitive. After winning the biggest election in my cycle, and now that's actually when depression really took control in my life. And then the really bad part of depression is the conversation you start to have with yourself to take yourself out. And that's an important conversation to have, especially on Veterans Day. 18 veterans take their lives every day. And that's an important conversation. And that's why I try to describe to people that I beg people, stay in this game for those that are struggling with depression, regardless of what the kinds of resources and support you have in your life. The one thing you can guarantee is to promise to stay in that game. Because it's very counterintuitive. My emergency brake was my kids, and I realized that I can't be the legacy to cancel myself in that way, and that saved my life. And sharing about that story is me as the gratitude that I'm to be here is like to pay it forward. And I've had this conversation with members of Congress, with strangers that have reached out, and some that have described that those kinds of message has really saved our life. So for me, I'm going to continue to have this conversation so long as people want to hear it. And that's why I'm grateful to be here, especially after medically dying after that stroke.
Senator, we wanted to check in on how you're feeling today, because as you speak of depression, as someone that's also had mental health struggles, I know it ebbs and flows. I'd love to know how you're doing today and what you want people to learn from your struggles.
What I would learn from the struggle is like I'm lucky enough to be really free of most of that in the middle of all of this flux. For me, it's like I'm so grateful to feel great. But I understand what millions of people, even some people might be watching now, that are in that same dark place. And I'm trying to tell people. And 3 years ago, I couldn't get out of bed. And I started to have the darkest conversation anyone can have about taking yourself out. So for me, like that's the kind of the core message of that book. And I've actually dedicated the book to all those people that are having this kind of struggle. And yes, I know it may not be a big political winner to talk about these things, but I do think it's an important one to have because a lot of people are suffering and may not able to talk about it. And now, even if someone that elected as a U.S. Senator, just like what happened to that young man that played for the Dallas Cowboys, right after his first touchdown, and he shot himself. Yeah. I've had people touch my life that way with suicide, and it's heartbreaking, and you can't come back from it. So you will get better. Stay in the game.
Senator, thank you for this. The new book is called Unfettered. It's out now. You can shop the book by scanning the QR code at the bottom of the screen. And we will be right back. Thanks for coming to see us again. We'll see you soon, Senator.